Most High to guide me to where I need to be or do what I need to do, see what direction He point me in. You know, people actually laugh at you for that, but see, the table's going to turn though, because the Most High say you should laugh at your calamities when your fear coming. And He's going to use His men to actually laugh. He's not going to open the clouds up and you're going to hear a loud laugh coming through the clouds. No, let me go to this precept. He's going to use His men to actually laugh at you. It's in the book of Proverbs, chapter 1. Let me see, let me go down. Verse 22, it says, how long you simple ones will you love simplicity? Like, how long people going to love simplicity, the simple way of living, being up on the Esau red ass. It says, and the scorners delight in their scorner, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you in my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit into you. And see the way the Most High pouring out His spirit to our people. They don't even want it. They don't even want to inquire. They don't want to ask questions. They be too proud. They don't want to erase that false narrative that Esau don't push on them. If they get on TV and say something, they're going to eat it up and believe it. But their own people come to them with the answers they don't want to hear. It says, I will make known my words unto you, because I have called and you refused. I will stretch out my hand and no man regarded. But ye have said it not. You have said it not all my counsel, nor will none of my reproof. I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear comes. That's why sometimes we see certain octane, we can laugh at certain events that take place because we know who orchestrated it. We know why it went down. More than likely, it was somebody, they heard the word, they probably scoffed and was talking shit. And then they get jacked up. You know why they got jacked up? They might have been doing something else too on top of that. There's a whole list of stuff. We're going to go down the list. Now, verse 27 says, when your fear come up as desolation, and your destruction come up as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come up upon you, then shall they call upon me. And that's how people be. Like, I was watching this video, one Hawking, he posted, and these people was out celebrating Halloween. Now, you know, they going out to turn up, and this was just one event. You had numerous events that happen like this. They going to turn up, have a good old grand old time. They ain't thinking about nobody to come gun shit down up in the parties. They going in there dressed up like a damn devil, dressed up like a witch, a wizard, warlock, whatever so-called entity they want to portray. And then when that judgment come, they, oh God, help me, please. Well, most I'm not hearing that shit. And it's actually funny too. It said they should call upon me, but I will not answer. They should seek me early, but they should not find me. For they that hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord, they were none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. That's why you really have to be like in a diligent mind frame when it comes to seeking the Most High, because there's certain stuff that our flesh want to do. We want to go out and do this, or be in these certain environments, or be around certain people and stuff. But if you ain't really focusing on what really matters, the Most High really give you over to that. And you see people like that all the time. That's why a lot of people end up becoming fiends. People end up becoming sodomites. People get immersed into this way of living in society, end up getting destroyed, getting bugged out, put in a psych ward. The list goes on. Now, verse 32, it says, for the turn away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of the fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. And hey, that's where you want to be at. You don't have to worry about all this other nonsense that's going on. You're aware of it. But the Most High keep the hedge around you, keep the angels around you, making sure that stuff don't come around you, and you can dwell safely. Now let me see, we'll go to this other video. I ain't gonna play the rest of that. You can check it out. There's more information on it too, talking about inflation of the US dollar.
Gun owners know the total concealment of your firearm is a tactical advantage. It gives you the power.
Well, residents in the city of San Francisco are now hiring private security guards to patrol their streets after a major spike in crime. In just carjackings and car break-ins, it's gone up 750%. Can you imagine that? And joining me now to talk about this and what's going on, Artis Farron-Franzak. Yeah, look, San Francisco's been having a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Along with other major metropolitan areas in the United States. And that's basically what you found, is that San Francisco isn't alone. This isn't about San Francisco. But tell me what's going on there.
So in San Francisco, it's really interesting to see what happens because, you know, just the other day, you had a little Asian grandma walking down the street, broad daylight. You had a good Samaritan. She was getting robbed. You had a good Samaritan, a woman, step in, trying to stop it, chases the guy down the street. He ends up knocking her out and stabbing her.
Damn.
Police arrest him, and they're still waiting whether or not they're going to charge him.
At least somebody tried to get involved.
Right.
Yeah, Philadelphia, where a woman's literally getting raped on the train, and people are just not intervening. Probably could.
Hey, and like the scriptures say, the love of many shall wax cold, because a lot of people don't really show love, and that's another thing too. Can't let this world overtake you and put you in a dark vibration, because that's all that's really around for real. So when you be laughing, you're vibing, you're enjoying yourself, you're thinking about other stuff that's going on, uplifting stuff, that shit make people mad. But fuck all that. You gotta focus on that, stay in that light, think about the delightful stuff, not that dark demonic shit. That's why a lot of people, they'll see you going through some shit, like how this lady was getting messed with on the train. These motherfuckers thinking about getting on TikTok and Instagram.
Because they're scared of something like this happening anyway.
Exactly, yeah. So, you know, you have private security companies being hired in one area alone, 150 families in this one little area, hiring private security. We know San Francisco has a major rent problem. Rent is sky high.
Right.
So you can't even imagine what they're going to be paying for this. A lot of these are officers, though, that have left the police force because of those vaccine mandates. So, in a way, it's kind of good.
Let's see, that goes into this right here. Let me go to the second Ezra. And this scripture get brought out a lot because this was really going on. Let me see. There's another verse too in this I want to get into. That's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, and verse 13. It said, "They that till the ground." Yep, I'll just start off right there. It said, "They that till the ground shall mourn, but their seed shall fail through the blasting and the hail, and with the fearful consolation." And that's going on too as well with the farms and stuff. The goods is getting shipped around. A lot of farmers, they've been shutting their farms down. They got Bill Snakes purchasing a lot of them farms too. Now it says in verse 14, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." And they ain't talking about just literal swords. Swords just going into weapons, whatever it may be. It may be a machete, a bat, gun, whatever. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings and the princes." Man, what Esau doing this stuff. And you got actual people on the force. Listen to what they say. You got people that left the force just so they can be private security. And you know they're going to be wilding out, just doing what they want to do.
There's though that have left the police force because of those vaccine mandates. So in a way, it's kind of good because they're getting work, but these families are still petrified. And
it's kind of good. We got to think about it. These are the same people that gun people down, make you scared, and shoot somebody that's running away. So what you think they're going to do? Just being damn security.
And like you said, 753% increase in car break-ins in just 1 year. Now, part of the problem is you have the new district attorney, Chessie Bowden. A third of the San Francisco prosecutors have either resigned or been fired for disagreeing.
And this is just on the West Coast. Think about what's going on in the Midwest and the South, East Coast.
With Bowden, I mentioned that man waiting to be charged. There's a lot of cases like that where these guys aren't being charged, these criminals. There's one case where he was picked up for armed robbery, he was let go, then committed 3 more armed robberies, then drove drunk and hit and killed 2 women walking on the sidewalk and just drove off. They're still deciding if he's going to be charged, but these lawyers saying he's siding more with the defense and these defense attorneys, not what we are doing.
Lund is very progressive. He's a progressive DA. And
right.
if you look at his background, his father, who just got out of prison after 40 years, was a major member of the Weather Underground, and perhaps this is before even my time, but maybe some of our viewers know the Weather Underground was basically a domestic terrorist organization.
Right.
Carried out robberies. His father was part of a Brinks, armored car robbery and went to prison for 4 years for that. So he comes from kind of that background, and he's very progressive. He's like a progressive, meaning very, very liberal progressive. So yeah, there's a recall effort.
Yes.
in action right now.
So far, over 1,000 signatures could be on the ballot next June. But then you have the same kind of problem with these DAs. You have New Orleans, you have my hometown of Chicago that's just made the top 20 most dangerous cities again. Take a look here. We have the map for you. You have St. Louis, Missouri, Detroit, Baltimore, Memphis, Little Rock, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Rockford, Illinois, my very first market in television, it was number 9 at the time. Now it's jumped to number 7. What's also interesting, though, here, John, is that we've always seen major crime on the coastal cities, in the much bigger cities. We're starting to see huge crime spikes in middle America in those small Main Street towns. Take a look at this map here. You've got Tucson, Fresno, Rochester, Columbus, Austin, very big, but seeing over 95% increases. Now, the one good news in all of this is that the murders are actually down from the 1990s. You're less likely to get murdered than you were in 1990.
Where in these
You see, I apologize right there. Esau full of shit. They talking about homicide going up, but murder down. That don't even make sense. Anyway, let me read on some more. It says in verse 16, "For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard the kings nor princes in the course of their actions should stand in their power." People, they don't care. They'll run your ass over and keep it moving. They'll gun you down and keep it moving. That's what be going on. And it's actually more than that than what they got on this map right here. They're just not going to put it. Like, I was trying to break this down to somebody earlier. They're trying to tell me about what going on in certain cities and certain hoods and all that stuff. I'm like, certain stuff they don't even promote because it'll stop business. It'll have people scared to go there. Make people not want to retire and move to take trips there or whatever. So they orchestrate how they put this percentage out or whatever about the crime spree and all that going on. It says in verse 17, "A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able." Now you got that going on. You ain't got certain documents, so to speak. You can't get in certain areas, certain countries. Except for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men should be afraid. And you're going to see that a lot more. A lot of these niggas be claiming to be tough, trying to be thugs. I was talking to somebody about that earlier too. Like I remember being around somebody, and these motherfuckers, we was in a rough neighborhood. These niggas were scared to get out the car. So what more when society really break down and all this turmoil come upon people just on some out of nowhere? Because you got people that see it coming, that's paying attention, that's measuring their time diligently. And you got people that's oblivious though, that's not really paying attention, that's thinking like, oh, stuff all good. The restaurants open, the bars open, the clubs. We can go to these different spots and all this stuff. The next thing you know, Esau pull that rug from under your feet and make you fall on your face. Let me see, we'll turn up on it real quick. Let's see what's wrong to end this off with. Verse 19, it says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation." That lack of bread, it's already happening. Slowly. See, so I do stuff in increments and then get you. Cargo ships not even shipping goods. You got certain ones that's doing a little bit of stuff, but the major ones that really bring a lot of stuff through the U.S., they're not even shipping goods. It says in verse 20, "Behold, says Yahweh, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, and the east, and upon us to turn ourselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. And that's another video I want to get into that too. I ain't gonna stretch this one out too much more. Let me see. Yep, right here. I just end this off with this, and repay the things that they have done to them, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen. So will I do also in recompense in their bosom. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh. Because the Most High does have chosen people, chosen individuals, or whatever you want to call it. But he does have an elect, the chosen. So whatever be done to them, just imagine what type of rap he gonna put out on society or certain individuals or whatever. Because hey, a lot of these nations, they had a hand in the downfall of a lot of people, so they got to get jacked up. That's why them storms and mudslides and earthquakes and all that stuff be hitting in certain areas. Militaries turning against each other. Which I'll go into that in another video. It's pretty sure I want to get out of the book of Joel. I want to make this as short as possible, so I'll just end it off with that. I don't want to write this out. This is edifying. Call all y'all about Shalom to the elect.